Okay, good morning. So, mag-record lang ko para sa mga dili kaapilon niya sa 8 o'clock, although hapit naman. Ah, First Peter, the last part. So, niabot na kita sa First Peter, last part. So, atong nasabtan din nga dili particular na grupo sa, ano siya tawag ni, pundok or local church ang isulatan ni Pedro, but it was to the believers nga na-scattered na karon. I believe many of them Jewish sila, nakasabot sila sa mga balita. And ang persecution nagpadayon sa ila sa mga Pharisees or religious leaders. And also the Rome, ang Roman Empire government who was putting also pressure on them. Kay labi na ang mga Jewish people known for rebellion. And mga gulit itong ipatayin sa mga Romano si Jesus kay they see that Jesus, giclaiman sa mga Jewish people nga he is king, which is true, na he will be the one to overthrow and to start a rebellion again. So mo to ilang giundang sa yupa. Kaya sila gusto nga na instability sa ilang uh, ilang panggamhanan, so ilang empire. So mao to nga Jesus was killed and they were all persecuted and scattered. So mo to nagsulat si Pedro sa ila ug taas-taas na AD 63. So that's like 60 years after the death of Christ kay mao man ang atong timeline ng kamatayon man ni Kristo and his birth. Okay? Before after death kay mao man ang timeline from AD. So, and before Christ, muna ilang ingon. So, mo to they were scattered abroad and Peter to encourage them sa ilang kahimtang. So, very challenging. There are many of them in a foreign country, which was the superpower nga Medes and Persians sa una, gamhanan po sila. So, encourage sila ni Peter nga, you be under there. You come under there. Murag sama atong they were brought to Babylon. You live there your lives, okay? You build homes and you build your families. And I will bring you back to Jerusalem one of these days. But of course, Jerusalem was destroyed. And nato nakita nga, Jerusalem right now, Israel is not really a place. Yes, it's a place, but it's a person. We all come home to Jesus. Okay? Katong Yuta Promised Land, again, it was just a picture of Jesus Christ, the inheritance. Pero when Christ came, klaro na nga ang inheritance karon dili na sa yuta, although ilaha gyapon to and for many times nawala sa ila, okay? Pero karon it's a person, it's Jesus na we always come home to Christ. So bisila bisan na scattered abroad na sila. Di-remind sang ni Peter ana nga unsa ni na kamatuoran na even though you are not in Jerusalem anymore, not in Israel, the physical place, it doesn't matter because home is a person, Jesus Christ. We all come home to Him. He welcomes us. It's like the story of the prodigal son, the father. He welcomes us. He clothes us with His righteousness. He forgives us. He dines with us. He prepares the table before us and lets us eat and enjoy whatever na sa iyaha. And reminds us like the elder brother nga all of this was yours. Atuwa man ni. Okay? Because naamang ko entitlement to elder brother. So, anyway, tahan man sila na entitlement. So, it's just a picture. So, even though wala na sila dito sa Israel, the physical Israel, that doesn't matter anymore because home is a person, Christ. So, mao to nga, you live your lives there. Pag kinabuhi mo dito. Uh, and then si Peter sa iyang style sa writing, ay pa rin siya nagsulti. Sa tinuod nga tumong, nga nagsulat siya. Here in 1 Peter chapter 5. Verse 12, the last part. I have written and sent this short letter to you with the help of Silas. Okay? My purpose in writing is to encourage you and assure you that what you are experiencing is truly part of God's grace for you. So para i-encourage sila nga kanang inyong giagian, this is part of God's grace. So, bisan kining sa tawag ning atong mga kalisod, mga sufferings. Now let's going back sa ilaha, talking about them. Ang inyong giagian karon, bisan lisod man na siya, tuwa na mo sa lain nga lugar, langyaw na mo dinha. But this is still part of God's grace. So this is not part of God's law. And we say God's law, this is God's punishment for you. No. This is part of God's grace. Now, ingon sa dito, stand firm in this grace. Mubarog ka mo diya sa grasya. So simple ra pud kayo ang tambag ni Apostol Pablo. Pedro, sama ra pud sa tambag ni Apostol Pablo, di ba? Sa Romans, you stand. You stand until Christ comes back. You stand that you are forgiven. You stand that you have been made righteous. You stand in the hope that He will come back. Sila, grabe nilang paglaom na mabalik na si Jesus. Okay, kay they really understood. It made sense to them na lagi siya man din ang istoryahan sa Old Testament. He is the sacrifice. He is the great high priest. So it's true. Now, we're just waiting for him when he said na he will come back. That's why they were hoping. Yun, mabalik na gid siya. And they stood in that. And then nakita ba nila nga ni si Jesus? Wala man. But does it matter? No. Because what matters is, even though wala nila nakita ang pagbalik ni Jesus, they are now in the presence of God Himself. They are now in the presence of the Messiah who loves them, who welcomes them. So, muna, stand firm in the grace that you have. So, kung atong tanawon, ang summary sa aning batanan, okay, not only this letter, is that God saves us because we are messy and we are still going to be messy. Okay? Wala nag-promise ang Ginoo nga everything will be fine. Okay? Everything will be fine one of these days, finally. But while we are here on earth, it's still going to be messy. Okay? And that's why He saved us, He gave us a new identity, and He reminds us to stand on that identity. Unsa ito? That you are forgiven, that you have been made righteous, and I'm coming back for you. Mora gid na. You stand in that grace. That's grace, that's not law. Until He comes back and fulfill all His promises. Gifulfill naman niya, giluwas na niya. Gifulfill naman niya nga pahimo tag matarong tungod siyang gibuhat sa cross. Fulfill na niya that He gave us new identity because He resurrected from the dead. Now, He's just going to come back and He will fulfill it. So, mauna diha karon ang istorya din ni. So, to encourage them to stand firm in the grace of God. So, nagbasa ko few days back, kita na ako akong mga notes. Gisulat na ko dito ang storya ni Martin Luther ug sa iyang asawa nga si Katarina Van Born. Interesting ang ilang istorya, share na ko sa inyo. Later on also talk about it sa atong meeting. Si Martin Luther, isa man siya ka Catholic priest, siya ang gitawag na murag leader sa Reformation. Wa magid siya nahimog ako yung mag-leader, but it just happened as the course of history went on, siya gid ang nahimog murag icon or gitana nga leader. Pero he never thought of it. So pare siya, he read the laws, and then he realized when he was reading the laws, mga balaod, dili gid niya kaya, he fell short. So motong na-depress siya. Sa grabe ang depression dito sa konbenta sa seminaryo, monk man siya. Okay. Kining na nasa vow of celibacy, dili magminyo on poverty. So sa dito siya nakabasa siya sa Habakuk, basa po niya Romans. Nakita dito niya dito na sabta niya nga ang matarong magkinabuhi sa pagtuo, the just shall live by faith. But then he understood that he is not saved by his works, but he is saved by faith. Motong revolutionary para kay Martin Luther. And I think if we understand that statement, that's also revolutionary for us. Di ba? Nga ang mga nagtuo gipakamatarong. They were justified by faith sa ilang pagtuo. Okay? Nahitabo sa ibot pasabot sa justified, just as they have never sinned, just as they have perfectly obeyed. Moto ang na-discuss sa Romans. Just as they have never sinned, just as they have perfectly obeyed because of Christ, on the merits of Christ. Revolutionary to para kay Martin Luther. To make the long story short, he was also inviting other monks, other priests, other nuns na there is freedom. Dili sa pagpaningkamot, but finally, iyang gibutang dito sa portahan ang iyang vow of celibacy and poverty, yung pagkapari nga dili na ko ani, dili man sa atong paningkamot. Finally, he had the courage to do that. And that's why daghan ang sunod sa iya tungod sa iyang gibuhat. Daghan man ang gikapoy na di ay tungod sa pagsunod lang nila sa ilang vow of celibacy and poverty and the idea of following the laws. So mao to nga naay siya gamay nga mga pamphlet, nagtrack sa una, gamay lang siya nga iya gipanghatag apod-apod. Explain niya dito ang kabahin sa justified by faith, pagtuo lamang tanaluwas, dili sa ipakamatarong kita tungod sa pagtuo, dili sa atong mga buhat. So gamay niya na nga explanation in small pamphlet. Niabot na sa mga nuns. Ug na dito 12 ka book nuns. Nagpasabot sila kang Martin Luther kung mao man na tabangi mi na makagawas mi sa konbento. So mao to nag-devise si Martin Luther og plano para kwaon ning 12 ka mga madre. So na ako nito tahatod man sa tinapay ang istorya. Basta na empty ka barrels niya. Dito gipang sulod ang mga madre. So, I think it was Easter. Easter na. So, they smuggled 12 nuns out of the convent. So, itong mga 12 nuns, naguli silang panimalay, wala na sila nagmadre, nakagawas na sila. But naisa nga wala sa uliya diya ngalan si Katarina van Bona. So, si Katarina, she was orphaned by age 6. And then, she was in the convent na since she was 9 years old. So, bata pa siya. So, nakasabot siya. Kabahin sa mensahe sa kaluwasan. Sama ka, nagikan kang Martin Luther, nagibarugan ni Martin Luther. Nga mao sa batong ibarugan karon. Di pa kamatarong kita pinagi sa pagtuo, dili sa atong pagtrabaho. Okay? So, mao to. Wala siya ulian. To make the long story short, nahimo ni asawa ni Martin Luther, si Katarina van Born. Wala gali sila'y murag gugma sa matag usa. Wala. Kay murag tungod lang yun kay walay paingnan si Katarina van Born na ulit tao po si Martin Luther kay pare gud siya. So, magdana siya sa 40s yung edad. Na nagminyo sila. Okay? And then, sa pamaingon ni Katarina van Born, sa pamay akong buhaton, na ikaw may nagkuhan sa ako, nag-abri sa akong nahuna. So, mo to ang ilang circumstances ilang marriage. Pero to make the long story short, nagkaanak sila. Pero si Katarina was very, si tawag ni, instrumental in the life of Martin Luther. Kay, siyempre, nahatagaan og order ang kinabuhi ni Martin Luther. Kasi Martin Luther for a long time, he was always thinking about himself. But now nga naminyo na siya, wala na. Then, busy siya kay dili man lang ang mga tao atong panahon sa Germany ang interesado sa mensahe, but it was daghan na ang interest, okay, sa mensahe. So mao man to mga panahon pod sa mga years of enlightenment na si Edison no so na naghimo sa suga. So daghan ang mga na-discover at that time. Okay? So daghan audience perminti si Martin Luther. It was Catherine van Born who gave him structure. It was Catherine van Born who help him nga dili kay siya murag katag sa iyang kinabuhi. But to make the long story short, it was really a good partnership. In the long run, we see that sa mga notes ni Martin Luther, sa una nga ilang circumstances ilang kaminyoon murag dili to ideal nga minyo, ideal man, ideal woman. They got married. Na sila yung mga anak. I think it was unom. Namatyan silang isa. And that's why Martin Luther went again to depression sa pagkamatay sa ilang isa sa iyang anak, babae man I believe. So, because of that, later on sa ilang marriage, nakita ang mga notes ni Martin Luther nga he learned to love Katarina van Born. And so with Katarina van Born, so dili sila ingon nga as their marriage went on, dili sila mga ideal circumstances, but they have learned to love each other. Okay? What's the point of that all? Magsama magud na sa ato. Na sige menyuan ta sa Ginoo dili man ta mga ideal nga menyuan niya na makipaghiusa sa ato. But the Lord had a decision to love us. Okay? He had a choice and He did stand in that choice and He loved us. Nga maong samang gyapon nahitabo ila Martin Luther and Katarina van Born na as the years went on in their unity, they have learned to love each other. Na mao mangyapon ang atong Kristiyano nga kinabuhi. Di ba? We are not ideal uh, partners of Christ, but He made a conscious choice to make us partners with Him. And He loved us. He showed His love towards us. Ug mauna nga as we time on, we realize nga, uy, wapo man ning gugma sa Ginoo sa ato. Na in spite of our messiness, we always could come home that somebody loves us. Nya mao ra man gyapon na sa Ginoo. Bisan na inani atong kahimtang katag kita, there's always somebody who will love us and welcome us back. So nindot nga istorya nga pamalandungan nga sama sa gugma sa Ginoo para sa ato nga walay paglubad. Same thing. He loved us even though we are messy and we will still be messy. Okay? So, I think that's the message of all in the Bible. Even sa sulat ni Pedro nga, you will be messy even there, but be reminded of God's grace. You are forgiven, you have been made righteous, and He's coming back for you and stand firm in that hope. So, see you later. Kung katong sa mga dili ka join, you could watch this video.